Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit Sun square opposition or inconjunct one's natal Neptune. Now, when you have transits that involve the Sun, it can be about attention, what we want, our focus, actions, our life, where we want to shine in. And when you have the transit Sun basically making adverse aspect to the natal Neptune, well, this could manifest in the attention, what we want, our focus, our actions, life, and where we want to shine in can conflict, with our dreams. I mean, if Neptune is in Sagittarius, it might be some dream of being an athlete or a philosopher or somebody in religion. Maybe it's somebody that wants to work in immigration or translation, especially if the natal Neptune falls in what I call one of the money houses, the second, sixth, or 10th house. Neptune is also associated with our ideals and what we want to attain, what is very idealistic for us. And it could be, what we want at this time may actually be more unrealistic than usual. And say if the transit Sun is in Taurus, it might be trying to attain a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time that just is not really fathomable. This transit doesn't last that long, though. I mean, if you're using a 3-degree applying aspect and a 2-degree separating aspect, you're looking at about 5 days that the transit actually lasts, because the Sun moves approximately 1 degree per day. But you're going to have the transit a number of times during the year, because remember, you're going to have 2 squares from the Sun to the natal Neptune. You'll have 2 inconjuncts, and you're going to have 1 opposition, so it will occur 5 times. Also, too, Neptune can be what we want to fantasize about, and it could be something where our focus may be on things that might be more important. Might conflict with what we're fantasizing about, and the things in our life maybe somehow is in conflict. Maybe there's more of a need to sleep, to fantasize, to daydream. It could also be a time where your life may be disrupted by maybe some chaos at this time if the Neptune is in the 4th house. It could be something in your home life if it's in the 3rd. Maybe it's something that has to do with neighbors or siblings or cousins. Neptune is also connected with deception and duplicity. So it might be a time too where your own life, to some degree, maybe is basically might be disrupted by dealing with some kind of deception, something duplicitous in your life. It might be dealing with, some cases it could be the biological father or a child or an authority figure. May not be as honest or scrupulous as usual. Might be doing something, might be doing something very deceitful. And it could be that your life may also be in conflict, might be harder to live, maybe dealing with some kind of fraud at this time. Say if this falls in the 2nd house, it could be some financial fraud. If it's in the 8th, it might be some kind of credit card, or even in Scorpio. Neptune's in Scorpio natal chart. It could be dealing with some kind of credit card or insurance fraud in some cases. And also too, you might feel more of a need to escape from the doldrums, from the daily pressures of everyday life. Basically whatever pressures are there, the problems you may be facing, your life may be, if it's problem riddled at this time, you're dealing with, say, one predicament after another. It might be a time where you're trying to escape it. Basically, you might be going into your own hiding space and hibernating for some time. Neptune is connected with isolation, so it might be where you may actually find yourself maybe isolating yourself from an authority figure. It could be the biological father. You may be hiding even from your children if you do have something at this time. You might simply be avoiding them at this time. Now, anatomically speak, Neptune is connected with the feet, the toes, the immune, and lymphatic system. So some cases, this transit may manifest in some difficulty with those mentioned things I just stated that anatomically correspond with the planet Neptune. If you have these problems already, I mean, these things may be harder to deal with, may be impacting your life adversely. I mean, the feet and the toes, of course, that's critical for standing. If you're doing like a stand-up type of job where you're more standing than sitting, especially say even if you were just working, you're doing some general factory work, and you had to stand up in some manufacturing place, it can be where it might take more of a toll on you than usual, and it can be a time where the immune system at this time may be a little bit weaker than usual. And also Neptune is connected with the lymphatic system as well. So could be a little greater propensity for some problems with this, but generally this transit again does not, I mean, the transit does not last that long. It would be more of a worrisome issue, I would say, if transit Neptune was making an adverse aspect to the sun, because those transits, of course, last much longer for a more prolonged period and can be more serious. Now, the thing too is, Neptune is also associated with drugs and alcohol, and it can be a time where you need to be more careful. If you're somebody that's, especially like a habitual drinker, to be extra careful at this time, because there's a greater proclivity for harm to the physical body due to this use at this time, and drugs as well. Neptune is also about addiction in general, whether it's drugs or alcohol or even a sexual addiction. Um, it can be a time where being addicted to something, even if it's just being addicted to the internet, may cause more of a conflict with your life than usual. It could be, and also could just simply be harder to focus on Neptune related things, whether it could be dancing or poetry, or attaining some kind of ideals or things that you have fantasized or dreamed about, maybe even sleeping, wanting to sleep. I mean, sun is what we want. Neptune is connected with lethargy, it's connected with sleep and dreams. Neptune is also connected with surrendering and forgiveness. And the thing about it is, it might be more difficult getting, forgiveness, from an authority, could be an authority figure, from a child, from the biological father, more so than usual. Um, it may be also, as far as surrendering or giving in, it might be harder maybe to give in to these people, to surrender, or maybe even those people doing so. If you're trying to negotiate some situation with one or more of these people I mentioned, then it might be more difficulty in doing so at this time. And Neptune is also connected with dissolving and dissipation. So it can be a time, and the sun can be connected with vitality and energy. So you might find that it might be harder to get that energy and vitality. You might feel kind of dissipating or depleting at this time, or maybe there's some vitality issues that may have to be addressed due to a weakened immune system, if that is actually possible. Now, another way that this may manifest, so I stated this before, I reiterated that the biological father or child may have difficulty maybe in expressing forgiveness, in surrendering, basically giving in. It can be a situation where, say, if Taurus and Scorpio is involved, say if the transit sun is in Scorpio and the natal placement is Neptune if the transit sun is in Taurus and you have natal Neptune in Scorpio and it's an opposition transit, well, it can be that it could be an obstinate or stubborn dad, might be biological father, maybe over might be stubborn over forgiveness. It could be a shared resources situation. You maybe were involved in with this person, a credit card issue, maybe something with taxes or insurance, or maybe it was due to vengeful behavior. on your part at one time. Hold on a moment. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now also too, it can be a situation as well, looking at this, that some cases this can manifest in a physical issue, which is the sun may cause maybe some issues to attain your dreams, which you may have fantasized about. Say, if the transit sun is in Capricorn, it can be some problems with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings. Um, Now, sometimes this could also be expressed in a situation with an authority figure, may be more challenging. It might be due to, maybe on your part, it could be laziness, lethargy. Maybe there's some addiction issues in some isolated cases that you may be going through. And say if the transit, say if this is in, Sagittarius, maybe it's more, your natal Neptune is in Sagittarius as an example. It might be due to maybe being more interested in, doing leisurely activities. It could be like sports, for example. It could be, might even be doing something with gambling, or just hanging around outdoors and not really have as much focus on as far as work goes. Now, the life direction at this time may be more nebulous than usual. Say if the transit sun is in Gemini, it might be due to maybe making manifold choices. It could be a lot of communication fields that you're trying to choose from, as far as where you want to go, with your life. As it could be, a position, some kind of job, and it can be, something to, another way that this transit may pan out. It could be difficulty getting attention from what I call Neptunian people, from Neptune people. It could be hospital or prison workers. I mean, say, you need medical attention at a hospital, or say you got some friend or family member that might be incarcerated, and you're trying to, contact a prison. There may be more difficulty in doing so. Maybe there's more difficulty in contacting, say, a pharmacist. And there could also be, at this time, there might be greater proclivity for physical problems and issues that can be attributed to diminished or depleted immune system. Now, say if the transit sun is in Libra, it might be something, with kidney disease or diabetes, perhaps, as an example. If the transit sun is in Pisces, maybe there's some tingling in the toes, as another example. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.